Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. Boys and girls, the hits keep on coming for the deep state as the hunters become the hunted. Got some new Q. It's so new, it's still got the cellophane on it. Post 3625, 23 minutes after the hour of 12. We get this link right here, and Q says, hunters become the hunted. Senate was the target. And the link takes you to this letter right here, and you know if it's a letter, then it's probably getting serious. And it is from Chuck Cut the Grassley and Ron Johnson, sent to the Honorable Ken A. Blanco, who is Director of Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, Department of Treasury. Dear Director Blanco, the Senate Finance Committee and Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee are conducting an investigation into potentially improper actions by the Obama administration with respect to Burisma Holdings, Burisma, and Ukraine. As discussed in our November 6, 2019 letter to the State Department, while then Vice President Biden was in office, his son Hunter worked for Burisma and would be paid as much as $50,000 per month. At the time, Burisma and its owner were under investigation by Ukraine and UK authorities. According to a report in 2016, then Vice President Biden threatened to withhold aid to Ukraine unless the Ukrainian prosecutor that was investigating Burisma was fired, which he eventually was. In addition, Burisma's consulting firm, Blue Star Strategies, used Hunter Biden's board membership to gain access to Obama administration officials at the State Department and potentially influence matters before government officials on behalf of Burisma. The committees have jurisdiction over the taxpayer-funded operations of the State Department and the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN. To assist the committees in the examination of these matters, we're requesting a copy of all suspicious activity reports. They call those SARS because we got to abbreviate everything, and related documents that have been filed regarding the following individuals or entities. 1. Hunter Biden. 2. Devin Archer. 3. Christopher Hines. 4. Karen Tramontano. 5. Sally Painter. 6. Burisma Holdings. 7. Rosemont Seneca Partners. 8. Rosemont Seneca Bohai LLC. 9. Rosemont Capital. 10. Bohai Harvest RST, and 11. Blue Star Strategies. The Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs is authorized by Rule 25 of the Standing Rules of the Senate to investigate the efficiency, economy, and effectiveness of all agencies and departments of the government. Outstanding. So this is essentially what we've been wanting for quite some time, and Paul Sperry sums it up here. Breaking: no fewer than 3 Senate committees are now formally investigating Obama-Biden's solicitation of Ukrainian interference in the 2016 election, as well as Biden's family corruption in Ukraine. Investigators seek records from the DOJ, FBI, DOS, and the U.S. National Archives. Okay, well, I do want to point out that there's going to be probably plenty of pushback and stalling with all this. I have no idea how it's all going to go down, but I can't imagine Mr. Blanco just coughing that stuff right up. Just a suspicion. But either way, we see over here on Post 3625 where Q had said hunters become the hunted. And we've kind of suspected that this could be a reference to Hunter Biden. It looks like Q is sort of hat-tipping that theory. So indeed, Hunter becomes the hunted. And of course, it's more than just Hunter Biden. We want to hear from our whistleblower too. And these are people that they are going to likely get called to the Senate. That's why the Senate was the target. I tweeted this the other day. Sure would suck if this whole impeachment thing went to the Senate, where Trump could subpoena those who Democrats would never want to see testify, as we all watch, including fake news and the world. Awkward! concerned, yeah, indeed, C-SPAN's going to have to cover this, right? And that looks like what we're seeing right here now. Now, like I said, I have a feeling there's probably going to be a lot of stalling in the seeking of these records. Keep in mind, we've seen lots of letters demanding lots of things, and letters aren't always that serious. But indeed, we are starting to see this play out because the impeachment thing has really blown over at this point. Democrats don't really seem to be all about it. And it just seems to be kind of getting exposed for the circus that it is. However, this whole time, Q has been saying, President Trump's been hinting at this, that the Senate was indeed the target. And this is why, so that now we can have our own subpoenas. And of course, the appointing of so many judges that we've seen over the last, really ever since President Trump has taken the oath of office. We've seen all kinds of judges getting put into positions at different levels. And this is why. So now it's time to start playing some offense. Nice. Now, we got some new documents in regards to Ukraine by way of FOIA. Thanks to those of you who emailed this to me. Many of you probably have already seen this. I am just kind of going through some of this right now, too. We will talk a little bit about this, but I have a feeling we're probably going to dig some more into this. This is a PDF, and this will be linked down below for you. But I wanted to turn your attention to this. This is some notes in regards to Yuri Lutsenko, who was the former general prosecutor, or excuse me, the current general prosecutor, and Victor Shokin, who is the former general prosecutor. And this letter right here says, on January 23rd, 2019, a telephone interview with Victor Shokin, the former general prosecutor of Ukraine, was conducted. Present in the New York location were Rudolph Giuliani, Mr. Igor Fruman, Mr. Lev Parnas, and Mr. George Boyle. The conversation was conducted through the use of two interpreters, one in Ukraine and one in New York. The sum and substance of the conversation are as follows. Mr. Shokin stated that he was appointed to the position of General Prosecutor of Ukraine from 2015 until April of 2016, when he was removed at the request of Mr. Joseph Biden, the Vice President of the United States. Mr. Shokin was a deputy prosecutor prior to becoming the General Prosecutor. He became involved in a case against Mr. Mykola Zlochevsky, the former Minister of Ecology and Natural Resources of Ukraine. The case was opened as a result of Mr. Zlochevsky giving himself company permits to drill for gas and oil in Ukraine. Mr. Zlochevsky is also the owner of Burisma Holdings, which is a corporation registered in Cyprus. Mr. Shokin stated that there are documents that list 5 criminal cases in which Mr. Zlochevsky is listed, with the main case being for issuing illegal gas exploration permits. The following complaints are in the criminal case. Mr. Zlochevsky was laundering money, obtained assets by corrupt acts bribery. Mr. Zlochevsky removed approximately $23 million out of Ukraine without permission. And while seated as the minister, he approved 2 I'm assuming that's additional entities to receive permits for gas exploration. And then number 5, Mr. Zlochevsky was the owner of 2 secret companies that were part of Burisma Holdings and gave those companies permits, which made it possible for him to profit while he was the sitting minister. The above cases were closed after Mr. Zlochevsky was dismissed from the ministry. Mr. Shokin further stated that there were several Burisma board appointments were made in 2014 as follows. 1, Hunter Biden, son of Vice President Joseph Biden. 2, Joseph Blade, former CIA employee assigned to anti-terrorist unit. 3, Alexander Kwasniewski, former president of Poland. And 4, Devin Archer, roommate to the Christopher Hines, the stepson of Mr. John Kerry, United States Secretary of State and ketchup mogul. So there you go. The plot thickens, and like I said, I'll leave that down below. I have a feeling we're probably going to cover that a lot more, and it wouldn't surprise me if Q starts linking to that too. There's a lot of really good stuff in there, and there's another part I want to show you there in a future story. We may get to it today or not, I'm not sure, but either way, very cool stuff, and it'll be linked down below. Let's move on to 3626. 33 minutes after the hour of 7, we get a Twitter status here, and Q says targeted and silenced. Gag for a reason. Pain coming. And the tweet is from 2016 from the good General Flynn, who had a very curious tweet that you probably remember. RT, hashtag spirit cooking with Nevery Hillary. And then we get a Y right here. And we've seen Q use this Y too. usually in reference to these satanic Rothschild families that like to wear the antlers on their head and look all satanic-y. You get the idea. Hashtag drain the swamp. NYPD ready to make arrest in Wiener case. And it takes you to this 2016 Breitbart article, Erik Prince, NYPD ready to make arrest in Anthony Weiner case. And there's Anthony Weiner right there flexing his guns. I'll get that out of your way. Blackwater founder and former Navy SEAL Erik Prince told Breitbart News Daily on Sirius XM that according to one of his well-placed sources in the New York Police Department, the NYPD wanted to do a press conference announcing the warrants and the additional arrests they were making in the Anthony Weiner investigation, but received huge pushback from the Justice Department. And this is a really, really big story. And although a lot of this article is quoting Erik Prince here, I really suggest that you go ahead and listen to it for yourself. As you can see, the audio is right here up top. It's about a 20-minute interview, so we're not going to cover it, but this story is one that you really want to hear. But let's read a little bit more. Prince claimed he had insider knowledge of the investigation that could help explain why FBI Director James Nobody's Homie Comey had to announce he was reopening the investigation into Clinton's email server last week. Because of Wienergate and the sexting scandal, the NYPD started investigating it. Through a subpoena, through a warrant, they searched his laptop and sure enough found those 650,000 emails. They found way more stuff than just more information pertaining to the inappropriate sexting the guy was doing, Prince claimed. They found State Department emails. They found a lot of other really damning criminal information, including money laundering, including the fact that Hillary went to this sex island with convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Bill Clinton went there more than 20 times. Hillary Clinton went there at least 6. Okay, so that's a really big deal, right? That's a really, really big deal. And consider this was audio from 2016. And like I said, I think we've covered it a couple times, but really not in very good length. This is a interview worth hearing. The amount of garbage that they found in these emails of criminal activity by Hillary, by her immediate circle, and even by other Democratic members of Congress was so disgusting, they gave it to the FBI and they said, we're going to go public with this if you don't reopen the investigation and you don't do the right thing with timely indictments, Prince explained. I believe, I know, and this is from a very well-placed source of mine at 1PP, being One Police Plaza in New York, the NYPD wanted to do a press conference announcing the warrants and the additional arrests they were making in this investigation, and they've gotten huge pushback to the point of coercion from the Justice Department, with the Justice Department threatening to charge someone that had been unrelated in the accidental heart attack death of Eric Garner almost 2 years ago. That's the level of pushback the Obama Justice Department is doing against actually seeking justice in the email and other related criminal matters, Prince said. Now, I'm skipping you through here to get you some of the meat because I really do want you to hear this. NYPD was the first one to look at the laptop, Prince elaborated. Weiner and Huma Abedin, his wife, the closest advisor of Hillary Clinton for 20 years, have both flipped. Listen to that again. They both flipped. They are cooperating with the government. They both have. They see potential jail time of many years for their crimes. For Huma Abedin sending and receiving and even storing hundreds of thousands of messages from the State Department server and from Hillary Clinton's own homebrew server, which contained classified information. Weiner faces all kinds of exposure. It's kind of funny, sorry, for the inappropriate sexting that was going on and for other information that they found. So NYPD first gets that computer. They see how disgusting it is. They keep a copy of everything and they pass a copy on to the FBI. Okay, so we can probably assume that Rudy Giuliani has all this, right? Which finally pushes the FBI off their chairs, making Comey reopen that investigation, which was indicated in the letter last week. The point being, NYPD has all the information and they will pursue justice within their rights if the FBI doesn't, Prince contended. There is all kinds of criminal culpability through all the emails they've seen of that 650,000, including money laundering, underage sex, pay for play, and of course, plenty of proof of inappropriate handling, sending, receiving of classified information up to special level access programs, he stated. All right, so this is really cool stuff, and I'm not exactly sure where Q is going with this, other than maybe hinting that General Flynn will no longer be silenced. That would be absolutely fantastic. Remember, Flynn knows where the bodies are buried, and you can kind of see it in that tweet talking about spirit cooking and posting the why and stuff like that. If you've been following my channel or following QAnon or anything really like that, I think you kind of get where all this stuff is going. And so much of this came from Hillary's laptop. And of course, we already know that it put Anthony Weiner in prison. We also know that Weiner and Abedin are cooperating, which tells us a couple of things. It tells us that there must be something much, much bigger because A, they're cooperating, and B, the NYPD is willing to have them cooperate in order to go after something bigger. And this laptop, remember, Erik Prince just said special access programs. That takes us all over the world. That could be Ukraine, that could be China, that could be our F-35 secrets. Who really knows where it's going to take us? But it could probably take us to some really crazy stuff. That could be NASA. I mean, it could be a plethora of things. I'm just throwing them out there. But this goes off into so many different categories, right? And of course, we already know what Anthony Weiner was put away for, which suggests that there's going to be a lot more of that stuff, right? Remember, crimes against children, Clinton Foundation. And when we talk about the Clinton Foundation, that goes all over the world, right? Haiti, human trafficking, pay to play, Uranium One, Burisma, the Steele dossier, you name it. It goes everywhere. So this is a really, really big deal. And who's known about all this stuff all along? General Flynn. And he's hinting at that. He hinted back in 2016, and they were targeted and silenced for a reason. Erik Prince has had his name dragged through the mud. Now we're seeing this same thing with the resignation of the Secretary of the Navy, which I'm sorry, I'm probably not going to cover much today. But what I think we're starting to do here is start to muddy the waters on some of these people that were really true patriots, and starting to try and inject that back into the mainstream media narrative of saying these guys were, war criminals as opposed to true patriots. Well, that's likely because this stuff is coming up. Pain coming. Q. Post 3627, 38 minutes after the hour of 7. Q says future trip. I'm assuming C means code, trip code, re-verify, notebook, pen, watch, desk, and then we have a break. A non-interaction coming soon. Okay, well, let me first refer you to this tweet from Ron, who is Code Monkey. He is the board operator over there at 8kun, who says new board creation system now in final stages of testing. And if you've been following for QAnon for a while, we know that this salt rotation is coming up, and this is going to essentially reset everything. And I would assume to be Q's identifying trip code. That's how we know QAnon is QAnon, by this trip code. So Q understands this too, and is letting us know that in order to re-verify, as opposed to just saying, hey guys, it's me, Q is going to have to show us some bang up proof, right? And some of the best proofs are usually within these photographs that show close proximity to the POTUS, and usually are continuous photographs, part of a different photo set, something we've seen before. And a lot of these have to do with this notebook, the pen, and this pen is this pen that the POTUS used to sign the EOs. This watch that has given us some different times, which we speculate off of. And then, of course, this desk that could be coming from, who knows, Camp David, the Oval Office. But these are identifiers. That's the point. Q understands that, and Q is probably going to be coming forth with this new trip code with a series of Q proofs to let us know that it is indeed Q. Now, as far as the Anon interaction coming soon, I would assume that is probably over there at the Q research board. There might be some banter, there might be some Q&A, there might be some of that stuff coming up, but I have a feeling that once this new board creation system now finally gets going, we may see an uptick in Q posts and interaction with Anons. All right, Patriots, that's actually not all I got for you, but I think what I'm going to do is take some of my other thoughts and put it into another video. I don't know if I'll get it out today or in the next day or so, or we'll see what happens with QAnon, but I think I'm going to go work on that and send that over your way and keep it separate from this. But that is all I got for you on this for now. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. All my alternate links are down below, and I highly suggest joining one of those other platforms, because by the 10th of this month, this one may no longer be there. So please do me a favor, go check it out, either Gab or BitChute or whichever one is your preferred nomenclature. This is Sir Patrick Mack, and until next time, stay funky.